Jen. What do we call you?
Anything will do.
Anything will do.
Okay.
Right.
Anything you just said. Well,
one of those three.
Yes.
Not oi.
Anyway.
Okay, moving on.
Jennifer. This is our 9th podcast.
9th? Thought it was 8th.
8th was Moonlight. This is 9th.
So it's 9th.
Yes.
9 weeks. 8 weeks.
9 weeks. Well, we said 8 weeks last time and said, we've been doing it for 2 months, so...
But it's the 9th one anyway.
It's the 9th one.
Okay, well, after that slick intro...
We're getting better.
We are, yeah. Welcome, everyone listening. I don't know how many listened to last week's. Did we get double figures yet? Might have done.
Potentially. I need to look at the stats properly.
Yeah, we're not all over the stats, are we?
Well, no. It's not like they're going up every
hour. But we have now got like 1,000 followers on social media.
We do. That's exciting.
Which is impressive. That's 4 numbers. That is 4 like
LCR365 on Instagram and Twitter if anyone is actually interested. Posting pictures of film.
Yeah, we might. You never know. From this, we might add 1 or 2.
Great. I'm all for it.
Right. Well, okay. For those of you new to this, it is always this professional. Yes. 6 trivia questions coming up in blocks 2, answers at the end, all TV and film related.
Of course.
And this week's deep dive is the 2019 Todd Haynes film Dark Waters. We'll have a closer look at that without giving too much away, although it is a true story, so you can just go find it yourselves.
Yeah, it's all there on Wikipedia.
But anyway, so before we get into the deep dive of Dark Waters, that's good.
That worked.
Yeah, that worked that time.
All right.
Shape of Water would work as well, wouldn't it? A deep dive into the Shape of Water.
I can see it on our DVD shelf.
What else is there? A deep dive into 1917 works. A deep dive into
Jaws. That would be dangerous.
That'd be unfortunate.
It's good though.
Right.
We could be here all day.
I saw someone tweet the other day that they can't watch the film Jaws without constantly questioning why Jaws has got an S. Why is it plural? There's only one shark. Why is he called Jaws? He's only got one jaw, has he? I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway, I thought that was late at night. I saw a tweet.
Oh God, that's going to annoy me now.
Right, well there you go. Anyway. Look, so first 2 questions. Right, Jennifer, you ready?
Yeah.
I need my glasses. Right, hang on.
Oh no.
Which actor who starred in the thick of it went on to play the 12th Doctor Who?
Okay, I know that one.
You know that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And question 2, and you'll have to take my word for it, it's question 2. What superhero does the character Tony Stark become?
Oh, okay. I think.
Are you 2 for 2?
I think I am. Yeah.
Right, I need to get a little bit more difficult next week.
You need to get your glasses.
Anyway, not me and my glasses. Yeah, they're somewhere. I just can't see them. What we watched this week?
Okay, so this week we finished The Sinner season 3. We just finished it yesterday.
Yeah,
again,
I did an interesting chat on Twitter with someone.
You did, yeah. I was going to say, you go because it's your.
And we both agreed that, well, his words were season 3 was ridiculous. I found myself questioning lots of things that were happening, especially in the last couple of episodes of it, thinking that's a bit silly. He wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
So I kind of agreed with him. I did enjoy it though. I still enjoyed it.
I loved it.
Bill Pullman, he plays a suppressed, conflicted detective really well. But yeah, it was good. Yeah. It wasn't as good as seasons 1 and 2, definitely.
No.
Similar in a sense to Ozark, I thought, but
yeah, but still would recommend, definitely. But yeah, you have to get past a lot of questionable choices.
What else you watched?
We've also watched The Woods. We've got 1 episode left of that though, so we can talk about how we feel about it next week. But it's the Polish mystery thriller. And it's good. It's only 6 episodes, so it's quite short. We've managed to drag it out. About a mystery, like crime takes place and 25 years later, the case is reopened. There's a lot of questions, and that's been really, really good. also on Netflix. I have been watching Ashes to Ashes because if you have listened, I had been watching Life on Mars and I finally finished it. So I've moved on to Ashes to Ashes, which is what word am I looking for? It's not a sequel.
Well, it is.
But it kind of is, yeah. And it's the same kind of idea.
Just 10 years later. It's 1983.
1981.
Is it? I thought it was 83.
It's 1981.
Well, you are watching it currently, so...
But, it's the 80s.
My memory's a bit iffy at best of times.
A little bit. But it's a similar kind of idea that someone involved with the police in the early 2000s then has an accident and ends up caught in a world in this case Keeley Hawes, and ends up back in the 1980s. But the difference in this series is that she has been following Sam Tyler's kind of his recount of what happened when he was in a coma and he had this world in the 70s. And she's very aware of that, so her character's quite interesting because she's much more confident and brash because she's just like, oh, well, I know I'm going to wake up eventually, I know I'm going to get out of this. So it's good, and it's got obviously like returning cast, like Gene Hunt and the other members of the police force.
That is kind of rhyming slang, isn't it, his name?
A little bit, yeah. He hasn't changed either.
No.
So I'm really enjoying that, and there's three seasons of that that I can watch, so that'll keep me occupied for a while.
Well, at your rate, a couple of years.
Yeah, I know. I don't get through things quickly, and I jump around a little bit, so I want to watch other things as well.
Who sings that? Jump up, jump up, jump up.
House of Pain.
There you go.
Anyway,
that's apt as well. Carry on.
Oh.
What have you seen?
Oh, I was just going to ask you what you've watched.
Oh,
I can already guess.
Schitt's Creek.
Yep.
Season 4. Do like it.
You are making progress with that.
I thank you.
You're much better at getting through TV shows than I am.
I commit more to it.
Wow. Okay.
And what's the other one I'm watching? Oh, White Collar.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Oh, harmless. Yeah. Okay, 2 more questions?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
I'm worried now because I was pleased with you. Didn't get your glasses,
Crap,
did you?
I didn't get my glasses, did I? Number 3. Which star provides the voice for Bolt in Disney's animated movie of the same name?
Oh no.
No, that's not it. But don't.
I feel like I should know, but
don't shout it out. And question 4. Well, actually, the next 3 questions all looking for years.
Oh, great.
So, in what year was Spielberg's E.T. released? Is that word?
Yeah.
So, okay. In what year was Spielberg's E.T. released? Right, answers at the end. Where are we up to now? Okay, that's for right, okay. Time into dark waters.
Woohoo! Yes.
Take it away, Sam.
Is that a quote from the film?
Or played again, Sam, innit? But
That's
I just said take it away.
That'll do.
So.
So Dark Waters. This is a more recent film. It only came out in 2019, but it's now back in cinemas because I think it came out late in 2019, so people might not have had a chance to see it. So it's actually out in the cinemas that are open. And it was directed by Todd Haynes, we said earlier. I'd heard his name, but I wasn't sure what he'd done.
What else has he done?
Well,
it's funny I should ask that.
I've prepared. The most recent thing he's done of note, I would say, is Carol from 2015.
Carol, who's the actress in Carol?
Oh, I don't research this. I haven't seen it. Was it Kate Blanchett? I'm not sure.
It might have been someone like that.
I think it's Kate Blanchett. Don't quote me on that because I don't research every film that I quote because I'd be here all day.
You need to sort out your research, dear.
You need to
stop asking you tricky questions.
Asking you questions.
It's a logical question.
So Carol was a recent one, and he first came to prominence because he actually did a documentary about Karen Carpenter, called Superstar, and it was a story about her. I think it's the final 17 years of her life before she died from anorexia and the various things going on, and he got publicity for that, but probably for all the wrong reasons because he didn't have licensing to use the Carpenters' music, and people wanted to sue him, and there were people that were painted in a very bad light, understandably.
Kate Blanchett was in Carol.
Okay,
good shout, along with Rooney Mara.
That's the one. I haven't seen Carol, and again, it's one of these films that I know I should have seen and I haven't. I apologise, I can't see every single film.
Apology accepted.
Thank you, you haven't seen it either. So he came to prominence for Karen Carpenter's story. He's done a few other things and he's written as well. The screenplay for this was written by Matthew Michael Carnahan. I'd never heard of him either, but he apparently wrote the screenplay for World War Z, which is the zombie...
Brad Pitt.
Yeah, the zombie film, which again, have not seen.
I've seen it.
Don't really think I want to.
I've seen
Don't
it.
know.
It's a bit... I liked it.
Okay, it might be worth it. It's just never something that...
it's not quite...
appeals
It's
to
not.
me.
It's not quite Shaun of the Dead.
Oh yeah, that's the problem. I would just take Shaun of the Dead over any zombie film any day. And this film stars Mark Ruffalo, and he also helped produce it. I'll talk a bit more about him in a minute. And like I said, it's a true story, and the story comes from a piece that was written for the New York Times, and it was titled "The Lawyer Who Became DuPont's Worst Nightmare" by Nathaniel Rich.
And who's DuPont? Who's DuPont?
They are an American chemical manufacturing corporation.
Right, so it's corporate America stitching up its citizens. Money talks.
Very much so, yeah. So yeah, in the film,
Little man against sticking it to the big man.
I mean, kind of. I mean, Mark Ruffalo plays a corporate lawyer. He's a corporate defence lawyer. He's in the corporate world.
It's a bit like Spotlight, and when he was...
It is. I was going to say...
When he was the
Mark
journalist...
Ruffalo's in that too.
Uncovering the Catholic... the
horrendous crimes of the...
what do you call it? Paedophile priests in Boston, I think it was.
Yeah. And apparently this is actually the second film that Mark Ruffalo has been in that actually references DuPont in quite a negative way, which I found quite funny. Because he's known for playing the Hulk in the Avengers franchise, and he's been in Zodiac, he's been in Shutter Island, he's done a lot in his career.
He's versatile.
He is a great actor.
He played this lawyer fabulously well. I mean, he was... Yeah. It was painful at times. It's quite a long film.
It's not an easy watch, especially when you know from the start of the film that it's based on real events.
And what,
it's
20 years?
Yeah,
ongoing. It's still ongoing. That's the real story.
Yeah, the film spans.
But don't worry, you do get
some sort of resolution at the end. Yeah. But yes, so the guy that Mark Ruffalo plays is called Robert Billett. He's still around. He's still fighting cases.
He appears in the film.
Where does he appear?
In one of the, along with him and his wife appear as one of the guests in the drinks thing, celebration dinner at the end, towards the end.
No. There's a couple of cameos from real people who are actually affected.
Who are not playing themselves; they're just extras. But they kind of gave them a little nod to.
Yes. Yeah. So Robert Billett is still out there fighting. So he was a corporate defence lawyer from Cincinnati in Ohio. So he's a corporate defence lawyer. He had a wife, and they were having over the film they have 3 boys. So when it starts, he's just got 1 baby at home. It seems that he's really settled, and it all starts when his mother gets in. His mother has a friend, his name is Wilbur Tennant, and he's a farmer in West Virginia, and his mother knows him, and I think the connection's made that her son is a corporate lawyer and he needs help, and he turns up unannounced at Robert's office and dumps a load of videotapes and says, "I want you to take a look at these," and he briefly explains that he's got livestock on his farm that are dying, completely unexplained deaths, and it's quite gruesome. The footage he's obviously filmed, like the teeth are turning black and the bodies are rotting inside out. It's horrible. And he puts it down to DuPont, this corporation, are dumping waste in... Is it a reservoir that's near where he is?
Yeah, but they've got a big plant. They purchased his neighbour's farm.
And they swore they're not putting chemicals in the water.
But the thing about the chemical industry then is that the chemical industry, what's the word? Governed itself, monitored itself. And
yes, the EPA.
So they put forward a list of chemicals that they weren't allowed to, and then they were banned. Those chemicals were banned. But if they didn't put one forward, it wasn't banned because nobody knew to check for it or to test for it. Oh, sorry about that. Doorbell, postman, typical timing. Anyway, back to Dark Waters. Where were you? In the murky world of DuPont's chemical spillages, and it's more the cover up, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the fact that there's chemicals that aren't regulated and
regulated. That's the word I was trying to think.
Okay. I was going to say they're regulated by the Environmental Protection Agency.
But the Environmental Protection Agency only have a list of chemicals that the chemical companies gave them in the first place. That was the kind of catch-22 for trying to investigate. You couldn't investigate something you didn't know existed.
Yeah. So initially DuPont are on board because they know that really there's nothing to find.
They're monitoring themselves.
And Robert then pushes it, so they try and stop him from investigating by giving him a load of files covering the last 50, 60 years, thinking, well, he's going to get lost in the files. He won't be able to make sense of it.
That you need to kind of illustrate that. That's a decent sized office room with box files piled floor to ceiling, covering pretty much every square inch of the floor.
Yeah.
It's a vast undertaking, and I don't know, I felt deflated watching it. I don't know how he actually set about coping with that and going through some system of he didn't know what he was looking for.
No, and he starts off literally reading each file and putting a post-it note on it and writing the dates, and you're thinking there's so many dates and nothing's in order. So but he perseveres, and he eventually finds references to something called PFOA, but he can't link it to anything.
It's because DuPont are aware. That's the thing. They're aware that they are contaminating the water and soil surrounding their plant.
Yeah.
And not only that, their workers are getting ill. People are now starting to get ill, and they know that, and they carried out their own research using scientists, but the scientists are on their payroll, so they can control the outcome of such research, but they just bury it, and it's old.
And we're talking things like people contracting cancer, pregnant women who worked for DuPont having babies with deformities, and
the same kind of deformity.
Yeah, facial deformity, and the pictures they show are real life pictures of people who were affected.
Well, the boy, what was his name?
Oh, Bucky Bailey.
And he
makes a cameo later on. End. And Mark Ruffalo can't even look at him because he knows he feels a sense of guilt that no one ever did anything and that shouldn't have happened. So he becomes a man obsessed, which wrecks his home life and affects his relationship with his firm because they don't want him to keep taking this case. They think he should drop it.
Although, I must admit, what's the guy's name? His boss's name?
It's Tim Robbins who plays.
Yes,
boss.
Tim Robbins.
Yeah.
I did think at the start he was going to be obstructive, but actually he wasn't. He
does come round.
He does not obstructive from the start. He allows him to do it. He allows him to do what he wants, really. They do clash from time to time, but that's understandable over 20 years.
Yeah.
But he wasn't obstructive at all. I thought he realised that there was a human story to this, and he allowed him to pursue that, which I thought was impressive. I didn't think that would be the case, but.
So it's this chemical. It's in the water, so it's affecting humans as well. So in the same way the cattle's teeth were rotting, he noticed that people in the area, their teeth were turning black and horrible. And he also discovers it's in Teflon.
Well, Teflon is the key, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in the Teflon to the materials make non-stick pans, and it involves a scene where he comes home early hours of the morning. His wife, played by Anne Hathaway, thinks they're being robbed, and he's pulling up the carpet, and he makes her sit down, and he says, "You have to understand why I'm taking this case," because she's begging him to stop because he's become so obsessed.
I mean, his mental health and physical health suffer also. Yeah,
in the later years he gets very ill. He has to go to hospital, and the firm that he works for, the company, they keep making him take a pay cut because he's just focusing all his time on this one case, and he doesn't get anywhere for a very long time. And we did say the film jumps certain years, and it's just ongoing. It's awful to think that it's real.
It reminded me of Erin Brockovich.
Oh yeah, you did say that.
Where although she wasn't a lawyer, but it was kind of a case of an individual taking on a corporate giant.
Yeah.
And kicking their ass.
Yeah.
Whooping their ass.
Yeah.
Sucking it to the man.
Yes.
Isn't that Jack Black in
Sticking It to the Man, yes.
In School of Rock.
Yes.
Stick it to the man.
And as it goes on, Wilbur, who owned the farm and alerted him to this in the first place, he reveals that both he and his wife have cancer. He later dies, and it's still ongoing. It's awful. It's really slow.
Oh, ultimately they get as far as a class action suit involving
Yes.
over 3,000, or is it 30,000?
I can't remember the exact number.
Complainants, and DuPont even at that stage wanted to just bury them in court, so said we'll take them on one at a time, not accepting a class action.
Yeah.
So old whatever his name is, Mark Ruffalo,
Robert.
he said okay, and with the first case he won X amount, with the next case he won X amount plus something, and then DuPont realised this was going to cost them.
Yeah.
So they
eventually settled for I think it's about $671 million. They wanted to settle for, but it's still ongoing.
Still nothing. They were making £1 billion a year profit just from Teflon.
And up until not even that long ago, they were still arguing that the amount of chemical they actually had in their products was safe, and they just cleared it as safe. And then obviously scientists started to realise, no, this isn't safe. So they had to take blood tests on people in the local area, and that part alone of the film, well, in real life as well, it covered 7 years to get the results back from that. And that whole time, Robert Miller is watching people die. He's suffering mentally. His family is falling apart, and it is excruciating to think that really happened.
Is it a good film though?
Oh, I think it is a good film. It's based on a true story, and it is dark and it's gritty, and for something that covers 20-30 years, it does a good job of condensing it and just showing you how awful it was.
Whilst also illustrating how painstaking it must have been.
Yeah.
Have you got any trivia?
There's not much on this film. I mean, we talked about Bucky Bailey. If you Google him, he was one of the children who was born with a deformity, and he stars in the film briefly in a cameo in a gas station. And like we said, there are other cameos. There's not much else to say about it. It's all a true story.
Didn't he do his filming on the last day of filming? He did his bit on the last day of filming.
He was the very last scene, yes. And
no, but they actually filmed it last as well.
Yes.
And
no, that's what I meant. Sorry, it was the last scene that they shot. It's not the last scene in the film. And there's a roundup at the end of what happened, but I would say definitely look up the real story as well if you're interested in the more scientific details. They do play it down for the film, but yeah, I think it was a good film. I enjoyed it, and Mark Ruffalo is great. We've talked about him, and it's got Tim Robbins, it's got Anne Hathaway, it's got Bill Pullman briefly in it as well. So lots of good actors there too.
Yeah, that was good. You done?
Yeah. Do you want me to give a rating? You always ask me.
Oh yeah, of course.
Wow.
Mea culpa.
I don't know if I'm being harsh. I'm giving it 4 out of 5 because it's a good film, but I feel like it's one of those films that I may not watch again now that I've seen it and I know the story. But I would say that actually I would watch Spotlight again, and that's in the same vein.
That's because you watched it years ago. Maybe give this a
few years.
Maybe
if I give it a few years, maybe I would watch it again. But I would recommend it to people. But I'll say 4 out of 5, and I don't think I'm being harsh. I did really like it. There's nothing to fault about it because it is based on a true story. It's not a film that's out for effects and things like that. It's just a heartfelt story, and so I enjoyed it.
Okay, well, bully for you.
Thanks.
Right, great. So that's that done. Let's 2 more questions. Last 2 questions. So you reckon how many have you got so far? Do you think?
I can't remember what the previous 2 questions were, but I think I've got.
Who provides the voice for Bolt, and then Spielberg's E.T. What year?
Oh no! Then I've got 2 for definite, and then the other 2 no.
Question 5 then. In what year was Daniel Radcliffe born?
Oh man, okay, I can guess.
Well, you love Harry Potter, so
I do love Harry Potter, and I kind of know how old he should
some kind of fangirl.
Okay, I'm not.
Okay, right. And the final question. The King's Speech is a 2010 movie about a radio broadcast made in what year? Okay, so there are 6 questions. Answers at the end, which won't be long. So, anything coming up? Anything been released in the next week that our listener should really...
Our one listener. There's one DVD that I thought was worth recommending. It's called Radioactive, and it's a biographical drama about Marie Curie. So it stars Rosamund Pike, who you know from Gone Girl, and it stars Sam Riley, who is known for
Marie
Control.
Curie. And she
Played Ian Curtis.
Oh, very good.
So you've seen that, so you know who he is.
And she win 2 Nobel Prizes for science.
Yeah. So the film documents her life.
I got there in the end.
Yeah. The film documents her life, so I thought that was a good one that I would actually recommend. That's coming out on the 27th of July. I think DVDs up until August now, pretty slim pickings. I had a look at a few of them.
Well, cinemas are going to start opening properly, and maybe with new releases rather than reruns of.
Yeah, so I can actually talk about those because, like I said last time, the cinemas are just showing stuff that people might not have seen from early on this year. I did have a look at iPlayer because iPlayer have a lot of box sets on there of shows that I feel like I should have seen.
Have you checked out BritBox?
No.
Do you know what BritBox is?
Yes, but I haven't actually looked at it.
I've never looked at it either.
No, that's something to maybe think about as well. But do you pay a subscription for BritBox?
I think so, yeah.
Well, iPlayer's free. So there's 3 shows that I've picked out from iPlayer box sets which you can watch. I think they're on there for a pretty unlimited time. They're all fairly recent, so they're things that were on TV that you might have already seen. But the first one is the Salisbury Poisonings, which is based on the events of 2008 in Salisbury. If you don't know what that is, you're living under a rock. And it's only 3 episodes that aired fairly recently, so that's one. A show I've heard a lot about called This May Destroy You. I've heard about this a lot, and I never thought to look at what it was. I don't know what I thought it was. Is it
This May Destroy You or I May Destroy You? What is it?
It's called This May Destroy You.
Yeah, I've seen an episode of it.
Have you?
I have, yeah.
Oh, what did you think of it?
Well, it again quite raw and gritty, but I didn't watch. It wasn't the first one, and I felt like I think
12 episodes.
I watched about half hour actually, and I thought I can't watch this from this point because the characters aren't significant enough to me because I don't know their backstories. So I'd need to watch it from the start.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't seen any of it. It stars Michelle Cole, who had a series before. I think it was on Channel 4. I want to say called Chewing Gum, and it was something I knew about, but I'd never actually seen. But the series follows a woman called Arabella who plays a novelist, or she's a novelist, sorry, who rose to fame through social media and is labelled as the voice of her generation, reassessing her career, friendships and family after she's drugged and sexually assaulted in a nightclub. It sounds like something quite gritty, and I've seen a lot of people on Twitter saying like, oh, this destroyed me. It genuinely did. Like, they got so into it and were invested in it, and it was really emotional. So I'd be quite interested to have a look at that. The last one is something, again, I feel like I should have watched and we just never got round to it. It's The Nest. It's got Martin Constantine from Line of Duty and Sophie Rundle from Peaky Blinders. You know Peaky Blinders. And it's just a drama series about a wealthy couple who ask a troubled teenager to be their surrogate. But again, I heard good things about it. It's got good actors in, and it's got a number of twists as well. And I do like a good BBC drama. So I would recommend those as 3 that I think people should watch. And out of those 3, I would definitely be watching This May Destroy You, because there's been such a hype about it. I now want to see what that is. And The Nest, I think, is good as well.
Right. Okay, answer time.
Oh no. Okay. I haven't even thought about these date ones.
That was genuine pain there, wasn't it? Right. Okay, question 1. Let's start off nice and easy for you.
Okay.
Which actor who starred in The Thick of It went on to play the 12th Doctor?
Peter Capaldi.
1 out of 1. What superhero does the character Tony Stark become?
Iron Man.
2 out of 2. Look, she's on fire.
Oh, that's it now.
Yep, that's it. Which star provides the voice for Bolt in Disney's animated movie of the same name?
I don't know. I've never seen it.
He's also in Pulp Fiction. Grease.
Oh, John Travolta.
John Travolta.
Oh, okay. No.
Question 4. In what year was Spielberg's E.T. released? She's biting her fingers
Well, because
for the listener.
86.
No. 82.
Oh wow, I didn't realise it was that early.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Fine.
Question 5. In what year was Daniel Radcliffe born?
Okay. I want to say he's a similar age to me, but he's older than me, I think. I'm going to say 89.
Well done.
Oh my god, really?
Oh my god, really?
Oh, sorry, I got really excited.
So that was a guess then.
It was a guess, yeah. I just
Okay.
calculated when I was born.
3 out of 5.
Okay.
Final question. The King's Speech is a 2010 movie about a radio broadcast made in what year?
Oh no.
Do you know who the king is?
Yeah, I'm trying to think about when he was on the throne.
Do you know his name?
No, not offhand.
I thought you were decent on kings and queens.
No, I'm good on the Tudors, and I know it's not the Tudors, so...
George the VI.
Yeah, is that... But I don't know if that's before or after the Second World War. It's blurry, so...
Is it blurry?
40,
See a doctor about
46.
that. 1939. And
Oh,
it
it
was
was
his
before
first.
the
It was
war.
his first wartime broadcast, and so that's why he needed the lessons, the speech
Again,
therapy.
another film I haven't seen.
Oh, you've not seen The King's Speech?
No, that's why I don't know.
It's very good. Very good. So there you go. I hope you did better than Jenny then, because you being the listener, because she only got 3 out of 6, which is,
Yeah.
average.
Half.
Average.
Half marks.
Yeah, that's half wrong.
Okay.
Right,
Shush.
I haven't got a one good, one bad, so I'm done now.
Oh,
Are you
you're
done?
not prepared, are you?
Are you done? Have you got a good and a bad?
Oh yeah, I prepped for it because you always ask.
Wow, fantastic.
For God's sake.
What's
I
your
mean, at
good?
least one of us is professional.
Yeah.
Well,
can't.
I mean, my good for this week was Ashes to Ashes because it surprised me how much I love it. I think Keely Hawes is great, and I like this take on the fact that she is very aware of the world that she's in and how things work, and it's just a different way of looking at it. My bad for the week is getting frustrated at The Sinner. Without spoiling anything, the scenes involving the baby, I couldn't watch. It was too it was too difficult for me to watch. Anything where a child or a baby is in jeopardy, and I really thought it was.
Isn't that
for
an
a moment.
American TV show, Jeopardy?
Yes.
Babies in that? Of course it is. It's changed since I knew it. Right.
That was a great attempt at humour there. Attention being the
Jet-
operative word.
That was genuine. Right.
Well, I'm done now.
Thank the Lord.
I thought you were going to say that your bad would be The Sinner and just questionable choices.
No, my bad. I've got a good and a bad.
Oh, okay. You
Yeah,
do. Okay.
I do.
Off the cuff.
I do. My bad is losing to Spurs last weekend, but my good is beating the champions of England midweek, which means that we are now the best team in the country, because that's how these things work. So there you go. I'll leave you with that bad.
I hope our listeners aren't driven by football too much. We're going to lose people. Maybe we'll gain people
I've already
too.
checked. Our one fan is an Arsenal fan, so it's fine.
Are they? Oh, good to
Our
know.
one listener, aren't they? Right, I'm done. You done?
Yeah.
Say goodbye, Jenny.
Goodbye, Jenny.
Laters.